Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the proof. Welcome to one-on-one at Legacy Maker Sports Network.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to episode 66 of One-on-One here on the Legacy Maker Sports Network. And as always, I'm your host, Mr. Darrell Owens, if thou shalt not know if by now. But with all that being said, we're not going to worry about me because y'all know me. But let's talk about the greatness that is in the room today. One of the best young journalists in the game, man. Just forget it. Best journalist in the game. Like let's pump it up because we already know what's what. And ladies and gentlemen, we're so glad to have Miss Ashley Baker. She is the host of About Nothing But Sports Podcast and Sports After Dark on Twitter. Ashley, what is up, baby girl?
Hey, how are you? Thanks for having me. I'm so geeked to be here.
Well, look, we talked about it before. We didn't get a chance to get it going, but now it's happening. So glad to have you on this prime time spot as we're going to bring everybody a chance to kind of get a chance to know Ashley. You know, everybody see on Twitter, rocking it, killing it. But today we're going to go a little bit. We're going to dig a little bit in to see what Ashley is all about, learn about her. So we're excited, Ashley. Just glad to have you.
Thanks again for having me. I'm excited to be here. Excited to share my story and, hopefully influence, up and coming journalists, up and coming women in general, up and coming people in general. As I talk to you guys about moi.
Yes, we can't wait. And we got a lot to get into. But first, ladies and gentlemen, we know we start off with one thing, and that one thing is the check-in. All right, so we're going to check in with Ashley. Ashley, with this first segment, we just kind of want to know how things have been. Obviously, we when we started this show, and most people know this, we started again. We always talk about how the pandemic, was such an influence on everybody, and what it did to people during this time frame. So this is our first time really getting a chance to talk since the pandemic. How's everything going? How's your family? How are the babies? How's everything going?
Well, thanks be to God. Folks are still here, man. My sincerest condolences for folks that were affected. And that includes me because I had COVID. Affected folks that were affected by folks leaving this earth due to COVID. This has been a crazy 2 years. And, I'm sad that my children had to go through such an experience in their lifetime. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in all things work together for good. Right. So I'm just happy that we're here. School is gearing back up. This is the second full year. The kids are back in school from the pandemic. So my kids start school in a week. They're super excited about that. My daughter's first year in high school. My son's first official year in middle school. So I know it's about to be crazy in the house.
Look, we got old babies. Let's just be honest with you. Look, we still look great. Let's clarify that first of all. We still look great. I mean, Ashley are only 25 years old.
That's right. Well, I don't know about him. I'm 21. I don't know.
She's 21. I'm 25.
I just turned 21.
All right, and I'm 25. So but the thing about it, we both got babies that are I got two babies in high school this year. I still can't. Wow. 1 year away from graduating. That blows my mind.
Oh my God.
And then I got my little man who's 7. So he's going into second grade. So it's school is tomorrow. Tomorrow's it for us. We get school ready to roll.
Yeah, it's exciting. I know you said, how am I doing? As a mom, I'm a wreck. My kid is my daughter starting high school. And I'm like, oh, okay. I remember when I first started high school. I remember when I first started ninth grade. I remember when I first started middle school, and both of them are in these, very fast-paced changing grades. You know what I mean? So, I'm a wreck, but God got me. We good. We gonna be good.
Yeah, God got you. I'm gonna tell you what. As somebody who's kind of been through it a little bit already,
yeah,
it's going to test your patience. It's, I mean, when they start knowing everything, and they're for an early age, they test you with knowing everything. But when they really start to know everything,
We're gonna keep it 100. When
yeah,
they
yeah.
try to smell themselves.
Yeah, oh yeah, right.
That's
The
what we're
upper
gonna say.
lip.
We're gonna keep it 100.
When you're smelling your upper lip, and that's coming. So prepare yourself, have fun with that.
All right, I'm preparing myself. You told me to prepare myself. I'm preparing myself. If I don't prepare myself well, they're coming over there.
Well, whoa, wait a minute. Now. I don't need any extras, Ashley. I don't need any extras. All right, Ashley, let's get into this. Let's talk about Ashley Baker's passions for sports. I want to know 7, 8, 9, 10-year-old Ashley, where did this passion of sports come from? Where did you get that hit and said, oh, man, sports is what I want in my life. My sports is going to be my life. How did it happen for Ashley?
Yeah, so first athlete I ever saw on the TV was Mr. Kobe Bryant, number 8, the Ush Bush. And my mother is, I lived with my mother, grew up with her in the household. My dad is a huge sports person as well, but I didn't grow up in a 2-parent household. Mm-hmm. So my mom, heavy with NFL, heavy with NBA, huge awesome. Cowboys fan. She was born about 20 minutes outside of Dallas. So, this family there. So, I was born into my outside of the household, my sports, my family in general are sports fans. Commander fans on the NFL side, and various. I'm in DC, so various, NBA teams. But just my family, man. I mean, I grew up Sundays and NBA finals, and with the yelling and the screaming and the debating, and wanting to be a part of that. And honestly, throughout high school, I didn't really even know I wanted to do sports. I didn't even know what that looked like how to even get into a career in sports. I wanted to be in astronomy. I love space. So outside of sports, I love ancient history. I love learning about space and astronomy, things like that. So that was going to be my initial plan. And then, after 2 kids, I'm like, okay, well, the astronomy thing is not going to work.
I don't know if I'm going to quite hit the stars just yet, but
I'm going to hit the stars. No. So I decided to, pursue sports media. Awesome. And it honestly fit like a glove, man. I think everything happens for a reason. Like I said earlier, perhaps my children, a part of them being here had everything to do with me not pursuing something that I wasn't supposed to be pursuing in the first place. Right. So that's kind of where it came from, man. I've always been told I should have been like a lawyer or an attorney because I'm super persuasive and they have this debate style about me, and I've just applied it to sports. And it's honestly, it's opening up a lot for me. So yeah, that's kind of how I started.
See, that's awesome. It's funny because I've heard the stories about how you be handling things in the Twitter spaces. I'm still I haven't jumped into Twitter space yet, and I know that's something eventually I got to jump into. But I've heard the legends, and so I know that you be handling things out there in the Twitter space. But with all that being said, let's kind of talk about where you decided. Okay, obviously you when you decided the journalism is my life. Take us on those steps until where you are now in the journalism, where you are a huge influence on Twitter. You got a great fan base on there, with Sports After Dark and About Nothing But Sports. Talk us about that. Talk us about how the podcast got started. Just let's pick your brain a little bit on that.
Yeah. So when I decided to actually get into it, I think one of the biggest things I struggled with in the first few years was finding my lane. Mm-hmm. I've always wanted to have this barbershop mentality, barbershop talk mentality. I'm the home girl that can kick it and talk sports to you. You know what I'm saying? Let's put away that little prissy stuff. I'm the home girl that's going to rap to you about sports. And I'm not going to get offended. We can go back and forth. Let's do this. Right. And thankfully to, Twitter Spaces really has opened up that lane where I can literally have that type of dialogue with 10 other people on stage. You know what I mean? And make it feisty and up in arms and stuff like that. But that is literally something I've been aiming for since the beginning. So, but I struggled with not knowing if I wanted to be a writer or stick with social media or be a producer or do radio or do opinion.
It's tough.
And yeah.
It's tough. It's tough.
To be honest, I really didn't find my lane till probably about 2.5 years ago. And that is the lane of influencer,
Right.
Opinion. I don't necessarily, I mean, I'll do radio. Of course, I'll jump on radio. That's not a problem. But I don't necessarily want to do the writing. It was just so much. And I've written before. I've done radio before. I've done it. You know what I mean? I've gone through it, and then I'm like, that's just not what I want to do. That's just not me. It's not fitting me. It's not something that, and you know, when you're really not into it, you kind of shy away from it, right? So, and I knew that I needed to find what my niche was quick, because, you know, I feel like the passion I have and how I am, like, I feel like I'm literally one of one, and I definitely didn't want to later on down the road regret like having this opportunity right here, but just not digging deep enough to find out like this is what you need to do. So about 2 years ago, I decided this was my lane. I decided I wanted people to hear my opinion, which is the reason why I did. So it was about 3 years ago, actually, because I launched About Nothing But Sports back in 2019. So that is the podcast. That's the brand in general, About Nothing But Sports. That's the anchor podcast of everything. Sports After Dark is presented by A&B Sports. And so I started with the podcast and, you know, getting my voice out there more with that. And, you know, kind of the interviews started coming, you know, in addition to me tweeting, in addition to me create my Let Me Just Say This segment, which created a huge buzz. And so that's kind of how it started. And then Twitter decided to come out with Twitter Spaces, and they really that came out of nowhere. And I think it started kind of coming around like the end of December, because I remember jumping into some spaces in January talking 49ers Dallas game. And I had folks telling me like, you should start spaces. Like you should do this. You should do this. And I did it. And it's like, it's definitely a part of my brand. It's exactly what I wanted. Like that barbershop talk, like I said earlier, that barbershop, that back and forth dialogue. Sometimes it can get a little crazy. That's fine. But I'm used to that because I grew up around it. You know,
that's what you wanted. That's wanted
exactly
that. Yeah.
what I wanted. So just yeah, man. Just I think when I tell people about my journey, the number one thing is it's just so important. I would hope that people would find their lane sooner than later. It's great to wear many hats. Like I can do those other things, but just
pick that
finding
one.
your lane and owning
pick those one or two that are just your babies.
It's
tough. It's tough. Like
it is tough.
I'll go and I can testify to that because I can write, but I'm not great. I can give you a solid standard writing. This is what you're getting.
Same.
But for me, you know, I've always felt like play by play. Then with that, photography is now becoming such a second part of me because, you know, when I first started, I didn't know that I didn't know I was going to be so interested in photography. But then the photography / graphic design part of it just started all kind of coming together. So between those two and play by play, I'm like, those are the things I love doing the most. I mean, I love the podcast. I'm really, to be honest with you, with this podcast, I'm just starting to kind of branch out a little bit different. We've had, you know, the Legacy Maker Sports podcast. We've had that for years. It's going on 6 years this year. But this one for me has always been personal because it's my baby. I want to kind of give it a chance for people to know. So everything's different. You know, you kind of, it's amazing how like in this journey, and I think you can testify to this, that you find yourself in just so many different ways. You do. It's amazing.
And it's humbling. And, you know, it's just, I mean, I'm gonna be honest, this is like the first time I've said this. I feel a vulnerable moment coming here. I haven't said it on any other show. But you know, I'm still in the process of getting my degree.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so all of this, not even a huge part, all of this is obviously the work of the Lord. It's not me by any, you know what I'm saying? Like he gets credit first and foremost before anybody, before myself, because he has literally put me in rooms that the world say I'm not supposed to be in. He has literally had my name in people's mouths that the world says is I'm not even supposed to be in. This is not supposed to be. This is not how it works. It usually works. You go to school, you get a degree, you get a job, you go and cover stuff, you write, you do all of this. And I have been around and in the midst of people and have people number in my phone that the world says that I should not have simply because I don't even have my degree yet. So all of it is really the favor of God, but it's important to find your lane and walk through those doors that open and don't be afraid and don't suffer from imposter syndrome, because I dealt with that for the first 4 years. I've been doing this for 7 years. For the first 4 years, I dealt and, you know, just ran from so much. And I kind of wish, I'm like, dang, Ash, why you ain't just have all of this? You could have been,
Yeah.
who knows where you
But
could
you
have
gotta
been.
grow though. But you gotta grow. You gotta grow.
Yeah.
And
So it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey, but it's not one that I would trade in any capacity, for sure.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. I think the whole journey itself has been, if I look at myself when we started back in 2016 where I'm at now, I'm like, okay.
Yes.
Sometimes you know how you go back on Facebook memory, you see something like, whoa, I did that. Whoa, what was I thinking? And I have those moments all the time now. When I go back, I'm like, oh, that's how I used to do graphic design. That's how I used to do that. Oh, that was ugly. Or but it's all about the growth, and
yes, it is.
That's the best part about it. You see where you were then and to where you are now.
Absolutely.
Now, with all that being said, let's get into the fun stuff real quick. Before we hit the quick one segment, we got to talk about those Dallas Cowboys. Now, our man
Don't
Mike
do my boys like that.
No, wait a minute. I'm not gonna Stephen A, but our man Mike Bish, we both know Mike Bish. Mike said,
hey,
and I thought this up. Mike said, Lord, show probably gonna have 463 Cowboys topics. So
shout out to Mike, shout out to Bish, man. Come on, Bish.
Bish came for us both on that one, but we're only gonna keep it at one. We're not gonna get too deep on it, Mike. So, with all that being said, the 2022 Dallas Cowboys, what's the outlook? What do you see from this team this year?
Offensively, I see a step back. I am not a big fan of Amari Cooper leaving. I'm just not a big fan of that.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I'm the type of person that want to have as many what's the word I'm looking for? I want to have as many proven weapons as possible.
Okay.
Right?
Makes sense.
I'm not a fan of Amari leaving. I absolutely hated that. I still hate it to this day. I'm just not a fan of it.
I hate it for him right now.
Yeah. I hate it for him. But in CD we trust. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In Dalton Schultz we trust. In Jalen Tolbert we trust. You know, we've got some, and Michael Gallup we trust. You know, we have some options. Okay, I'm not saying that we don't have options, but you know, the departure of Cedric Wilson and Amari, that really that bothered me. So I expect a little bit of a step back. Maybe just in the wide receiver core. I don't know. I expect some type of regression from the offense in general.
Okay.
I'm gonna just say that, right? They do still have Zeke, and we got Tony Pollard in the backfield, but I don't know, man. I'm hoping that Kellen Moore opens up the playbook. Maybe we won't be as predictable, and because we're not as predictable, perhaps maybe we won't take a step back. Maybe it will be something different. But I'm praying. I love when Dallas proves me wrong. You know, I'm cautiously optimistic. It may come off like I'm always being negative, but folks that know me know, first of all, there's nothing matters more in sports when it comes to me, but outside of the Dallas Cowboys. That's number one. But I'm super cautiously optimistic with them. So I'm hoping for the best, but I prepare myself for the worst because I've been having to do that for the last 30 days.
Yeah. Look, it's funny that you say that though, Ashley. So here's the thing. There's fans of teams, right?
Yeah.
That die hard. The team could be 2-14, and they're like, no matter what, we're gonna win the Super Bowl. All right, guys, got to be realistic.
Yeah.
And say what I consider you is what we call a realistic fan. Those realistic fans,
I'm proud.
You're objective. You sit there and look at it and say, all right, look, this is what Dallas is.
Yeah.
I don't want to temper my expectations and say, oh my God, we're going to win the Super Bowl, because there's Dallas fans right off the bat, and you may think it. You're supposed to think it. You wouldn't be a fan of it.
Absolutely.
I think that team's going to win every year, but Aaron Rodgers proves me wrong every time.
Every time. That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate. It's unfortunate. Too many NFC Championship games. Too many round exits, too many losses.
There.
That's true. Too many losses to the San Francisco 49ers. And it is what it is. But that's the thing, like people look at it and they don't realistically sometimes look at their teams. So I can appreciate that.
Yeah.
But what about that defense though? What about that defense?
So on the defensive side of the ball, Randy Gregory leaving, that God, I hated that too. He was like a penalty machine too.
He was starting to come.
That playoff game, those penalties really pissed me off with him. So, and Dan Quinn, I trust. Yeah, and Dan Quinn, I trust. I trust. I saw what Dan Quinn did with this defense last year.
They took a leap.
And Dan Quinn, I trust, and I have number 11 also as the big joker in my back pocket, which is Mr. Michael Parsons. So, who, by the way, is still going to see a whole lot of that all around the field. We're still in a position where you just don't know. You could put him anywhere. You really can plug and play Micah anywhere. So, I'm excited to see that. I honestly, this is probably the first time in quite some time where the defense is not the area of my concern going into the season. It's the offense. So I'm hoping that I am completely wrong. I'm hoping Dallas start off 8-0. Okay, I'm hoping that I am as wrong.
Please, like
as
I want
two
you to
left shoes. Okay, but I don't think I will be. I have Dallas going 10-7 on the season. I have us finishing second in our division.
Really?
After the Eagles, yeah.
Okay. That was gonna be my next question.
On paper should win the division.
They should.
They should win the division.
Okay.
We'll see if Jalen Hurts can step up to the plate. But I have them finishing behind the Eagles. However, I do have them securing a wild card spot. So I have them getting one of those 3 wild card spots.
That's intriguing. And it's funny because I've heard some people say that they thought the Eagles would be, take that leap this year. They bring in AJ Brown, which is huge. You bring in
great offseason.
Huge. But I mean, that connection between Hurts and Brown is going to be critical. And hopefully they'll be able to turn that for Eagles fans purposes. They'll be able to turn it. But my biggest thing with Dallas, Parsons is just scratching the surface. He's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing. Obviously, the biggest hit on your defense, probably the most positive thing and probably the most negative thing you hear in your defense is Trayvon Diggs. You hear, oh man, all the interceptions, but then you always, he's always getting beat. Before we move on, what are your thoughts on Mr. Diggs?
My thoughts, number one, is that wasn't even something that people cared about until a Dallas Cowboy decided to grab 11 interceptions. Nobody cared how many yards a quarterback was giving up in the midst of grabbing however many interceptions he had on the year. You know what I mean?
Right.
So, going forward, people have to remember that Trayvon is a wide receiver. He was a wide receiver before he started playing defense. So that's why his hands are so good, right? So he's learning. He's gonna get better. You know what I mean? And it's just a lot of haters. It's a lot of haters.
A lot of hate.
For those that want to continue to hate on that stat, go and check out Jalen Ramsey's first couple of years because he was getting burnt too and almost giving up 1,000 yards in one of those seasons.
Preach, Ashley. Ashley out here preaching, y'all. Y'all better listen.
Let me just say
go
that
check those
now.
Stats.
Yeah, now he won't. I think he'll be better defending, so I don't think he'll give up that many yards. But I also don't think that his interceptions will be that high. I still think he'll grab probably anywhere between 5 to 7 interceptions. But he is a beautiful thing to have back there at cornerback. I hope that the cornerback opposite him, Anthony Brown, can get it together this season as well. I love Ron Kearse. He is the anchor of the defense. He's the captain. He's an incredible safety. I think we're going to see him have a really, really great season. He was banged up a lot last year, but this year I think it's going to be really good seeing Kearse. So I'm excited for the defense, man. And again, I trust Dan Quinn. I saw what he did. I've seen what he's done with other defenses. So I'm excited for that.
All right. So 10-7. Second in the division for the Dallas Cowboys. Before we move, I
wild card spot. Let's make sure we
wild card spot. I will say this though. Okay. Dan Quinn, and I told people last year, everybody was like, "Oh, Dallas defense trash." I said, "Look, every person that was a head coach that goes back into a coordinator position because they take less stress off, they tend to have really good years in that coordinator position."
Yep.
Todd Bowles leaves, goes down to Tampa. Great year. Dan Quinn leaves, goes back. It always tends to happen. Offensive coordinators, like people trashing Matt Patricia and Joe Judge up in New England. Don't be surprised if they have great years because they don't have that focus of being the head coach on that team. So it always does. Guys like even though Flores was doing well before he left, Flores could flourish even more when he's up there in Pittsburgh. So watch out for guys that tend to take that step back. They usually do pretty well.
Yep.
All right, now
those are great points. Those are great points.
So that's what I always tell people to look out for that. Now, ladies and gentlemen, it's time for my favorite segment. It's time for Quick Ones. All right, for those who are new to the show, and Quick Ones is pretty much, I'm going to give Ashley a little line here, and Ashley's going to tell me how she feels about that or give me her opinion on that line. I always tell people I like for them to personally, go into it if you want. You can do one-word answers. That's completely up to you. But I do want to hear what you have to say about these topics. Are you ready, Ashley Baker, for the
I
Ashley
am
Baker
ready.
edition?
I'm
Yes,
ready.
she is ready for the
I'm
Ashley
ready. Let's
Baker
get it.
edition of Quick Ones. First one, favorite sports moment.
When Tom Brady came back from 28-3.
Mm.
When Dwayne Wade won his two championships with LeBron. I had to throw another one in there.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Heat Nation, baby. Heat Nation. Yeah. Speak that. I'm not mad at that. Go ahead. I love it. Heat Nation all day.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right, baby.
Absolutely.
Dwayne. Love Dwayne Wade.
That's
Love
my
him.
favorite player all time.
My
Absolutely.
favorite player is actually Alonzo Mourning, but
Okay.
Wade is 2. So
Okay.
I'll take
It's so
that.
funny. I was going through my phone today and I was showing a friend of mine videos of, because I have a video in my phone of when Dwayne Wade left Cleveland and was coming back to Miami, like that first game, and the announcers yelling his name, Dwayne Wade. And I'm like, I'm never deleting this video. It was such a moment.
This is great.
This was today. It's so crazy because I was literally like, oh, that was just my guy.
God, I just love Dwayne Wade. He's the best, man. I mean, he is the definition of a Heat lifer. Besides Haslam, let me not trash my boy Haslam because 20 years in the game.
Now listen. Now,
he a player coach, man. Let's be honest.
No one they just pay him like a coach. Come on now.
I don't know why is he still suited up? He doesn't play. Like my man is just out there. I mean, I think what it really was, he wanted to get the 20. You know, there's only like 4 players.
That's true.
There's only 4 players in NBA history, and he's the 4th. I think it's him, Robert Parrish. I think Vince
he'll
Carter
retire this year.
Yeah, so he's got to retire. He should retire this year. He's holding up a roster spot. Go out there and be an assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? I love you, UD. Don't take this as hate. I love you though.
Yeah.
Next one, worst sports moment.
Oh my goodness.
Too many, right? We all have those though.
Certainly the catch.
Oh, I'm so sorry about that. I will testify now that I thought it was a catch. So as a Packers fan, I thought it was a catch.
It was unbelievable. I actually spoke about this the other day as well. It was absolutely unbelievable. Easily made a football move. I don't understand how they ruled at anything outside of down at the 1. Because he was short of the goal line, but easily should have been down at the 1, man. So that for sure. And then a couple of years later, 3rd and 20 in.
I'm so sorry. Look.
It's an Aaron Rodgers thing, man.
Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Close your eyes. Look, it's funny because with the catch, I'm gonna tell you my thought process as this game was going on. I remember watching it, right, and I said to myself, and looking good. Romo was looking good. I mean, they throw the ball down, and Dez, I thought he caught it. I said, oh my God, he caught this football. And now, the first thing I said was, okay, we still got Aaron Rodgers, and we got 4 minutes. So, I mean, they're going to score here, but we're going to be fine. Then all of a sudden, I hear the whistle blow, and they're like, well, wait a minute, they're challenging. I'm like, challenging what? He caught the ball. So when they said they reversed it, I was like, whoa. I was shocked. I'm still shocked to this day. People give me a lot of grief for it. I'm like, hey, man, I didn't do it. But, I mean, I'm not going to say, whatever, but we did get our karma the next week when Brandon Bostic can't hold on to a football, and then one of the greatest comeback in NFC Championship games history. So I would have rather have lost the week before than lose that way, because that was trash.
In that type of dramatic fashion is what causes Dallas fans to have heart problems, anxiety issues.
Understood.
Like, we're constantly losing in some type of dramatic fashion. And then the 3rd and 20. I mean, we needed one stop, one play to finally get past Aaron Rodgers. One play, and I think it was Randall Cobb that caught that ball on the.
That was actually Jared Cook.
It was Cook.
Jared Cook.
It was 3rd and 20. I'm like, yes, we did it. Hold them, boys. Just one more play.
Man, I was in the room sick.
We got one more play, and he caught it. I mean,
well, guess what?
The toe tap was amazing, I must admit.
Well, look, I will say this, same thing. Next week, we play Atlanta, and they smack us. Yeah. And that's why I said, like, we may get y'all, but they still end up getting us, and we get beat in such the it's going to break my heart even talk about it.
Those were pretty bad.
They were ugly. You can say that. They were ugly. Ugly. Next one, and I think we kind of touched on it earlier, but your favorite athlete growing up.
That's my cat in the background. I'm sorry.
I was about to say, what is that snake doing behind your shoulder? All I saw was the tail wave. I was like, uh-oh, run, Ashley, run.
So you said my favorite athlete?
Favorite athlete growing up.
Okay, so I have 2.
By all means.
I have 3. It was Kobe first.
Kobe first.
Right. I literally, like I said earlier, he was the first sports figure that I can recall. My mom watching him on TV in those finals in the early 2000s. I was like 10, 19 years old. Kobe for sure. Dwayne Wade. Once Dwayne Wade came into the league, it was a wrap. That was just my guy going for. I watched his last year at Marquette, and I just loved him. I became a Heat fan after that. And then also I love Tom Brady, man. Tom Brady's my guy. Those are my three favorite players all time, athletes all time. So Tom Brady as well, the GOAT. I happen to pick really great people. Let me just say that. This is crazy. Well. I did not know, the first time I saw Brady, I didn't know the man was going to go off to win 7 rings.
No one did.
What I mean? I didn't know that. I'm a great judge of character. I didn't know that Dwayne Wade was going to go off to win 3 rings. I'm a great judge of character. I didn't know Kobe was going. Well, I knew Kobe was going to have it.
Kobe had it, but Dwayne, we definitely didn't know.
Come on now. But 5 though, come on. I didn't think that. I'm a great judge of character. I'm just saying.
This is true. Based off of those selections, I would definitely say that. I mean,
now we just waiting on Paul George. I'm telling y'all what I know. Man, now we just waiting on Paul George.
That Clippers team, that's a whole nother conversation, man. They got to find a way to get over the hump, man.
Find a way.
We thought they had it last year, the year before last. I thought they were finally going to do it the year before. Yeah, that too. Wait a minute.
That was disgrace. I mean,
what year did they lose? What year did they lose to Phoenix? Didn't they lose to Phoenix? That was last year. Oh, but in the bubble,
I'm not too mad about last year though, because that was a whole stacked Phoenix team with just Paul George. And again, that Clippers team was going crazy that year. They did good, but again, it was absent Kawhi Leonard.
Yeah,
that entire year when they had Kawhi and PG and everything, and they lost to the Denver Nuggets after being up 3-1. That is just unacceptable. I mean, I was physically sick to my stomach.
But before we move to the next one, our man Mike Patton said two of his homies and he loves it. Then he says, hate to say it, but Paul ain't gonna get it done. I love Mike,
Mike's a hater. You gotta have some optimism, Mike. You gotta have some type of belief.
You gotta have some
faith without works is dead. If I had faith in Paul George but didn't root for it or talk about it, then faith without works is dead. Let me do my thing, man. That's what I'm saying. Let me put it in the atmosphere.
Preach. That's what I'm saying. All right, here we go. Two fun ones. Here we go. Worst cake flavor you ever had? Yes. I love when I can stump somebody. This is usually a good one. Yes.
Worst cake flavor I've ever had.
Worst cake flavor, just disgusting.
I don't like chocolate. It's not the worst, but I'm not a chocolate. I don't like chocolate.
Okay. I'll double that and go German chocolate. That's some trash.
Ooh.
Oh, first time
I love German chocolate.
Oh man, German chocolate cake is miserable. And then in a close second, lemon. I don't like anything lemon pie, lemon meringue. I love lemon. It's tart.
I don't like maroons. But I don't like lemon in my water.
Oh, you know how to go to a restaurant and say, "Oh, throw a little lemon in there."
Trash. That's trash. If I wanted lemonade, I'd order lemonade. Like lemon in my water. I hate any kind of fruit in water. Just at this point, I'm putting sugar in it. Just give me water, plain Jane. I drink water by itself. I don't like getting up.
That's what they do at Starbucks. They was like, "Oh, you want a strawberry refresher? You throwing strawberries in there and stirring it around so that the little strawberry substances can make it look fancy. You out here selling $5 strawberry water. What?
Strawberry water?
Man, look. When my daughter, one time we went up to Starbucks, my daughter said, "Hey, Daddy, can we get a refresher, like a strawberry refresher?" I thought it was like one of the Frappuccinos for those out there that don't know what a Frappuccino is. But I was like, oh, I thought it was one of those. And I said, "You just got water and strawberries for $5?" I was like, I could have did that for you at the house.
I heard they fire though.
Really?
I haven't had them, but I heard
I won't have them unless somebody buys it for me.
A spritzer. It's a strawberry spritzer.
Well, they better throw some.
But y'all ain't fooling nobody. Now, you call us all you want if you get my man here sponsor. You know what I'm saying?
And then I might hype it up just a little bit.
Talk about it, but it's a spritzer. It ain't nothing but flavored water. I can get that 5 for $5 at the Shoppers. Like this is
facts. Facts. Next one and last one.
Sure.
If there was a movie of your life, who plays you, and name 2 other key actors in the movie?
If there's a movie of my life, who
Yes,
plays
the
me?
Ashley Baker story
Who
coming
plays
to
the Ashley
Lifetime.
Baker
Look.
story? I'm gonna go with Sanaa Lathan.
Okay, all right. I love
I'm gonna
Sanaa.
go with. I think Sanaa would kill me, kill
Okay.
that part, kill my
Okay.
role.
I like that.
And two other key actors.
Just two people that had to be in there. If somebody's playing your mom, I don't know, and
It's
whoever.
gotta be my girl Jennifer Lewis playing my mom.
Yes.
Jennifer Lewis would be my mama. Okay. Sanaa would be me.
Okay.
And I would say like, I have some crazy girlfriends. I don't know. Maybe Tiffany Haddish would play me.
Oh, okay. Wait a minute. Tiffany Haddish. So we know Tiffany Haddish is in there somewhere.
Tiff might play me. Tiff is gonna be in there some way because Tiff off the hook.
Tiff's in there.
Tiff is my vibe.
You got a sister, right? You got a sister, right?
I got a sister, but my sister not as crazy as Tiff.
Oh, so we can't use it. Okay.
So I'm thinking like I got sisters that kind of give you like Regina Hall.
Okay. Regina Hall is solid. 50 years old, and
like low key ratchet, beautiful, but like and she's from DC, so I love me some Regina Hall for sure.
Okay, yeah, and Regina.
Maybe Taraji's in there some way too.
Taraji could be in there.
It's a couple of folks.
Okay, all right, I'm down for that. Hey, look, I maybe what's the young girl that was on Blackish? She can play your daughter, the one that's she just turned 18 now.
Blackish.
Oh, I can't think of her name. She's everywhere. She did the movie You, the little black girl with the glasses. I can't even think of her name.
The puffballs.
Yeah.
I know you're talking about, but I don't know.
I'm losing street cred for that. Somebody's gonna yell at me about it, but that's okay. All right.
I'm cred for not even watching Blackish.
Oh, well, see, look, I watched the first 5 seasons, and then when Dre and her when
don't
Dre,
tell me.
I let's just say there was some situations that happened midway through.
Okay.
I kind of stopped watching it, and then I said to myself, I got to go back and watch it now.
Yeah.
I just didn't catch up on it. But for those Blackish fans,
that's a good bet.
We both had to start back up on that. All right, everybody, that was Quick Ones. That was the Ashley Baker edition of Quick Ones, and we're gonna finish this one off right, ladies and gentlemen, with Leave Your Legacy. All right, Miss Ashley Baker. First of all, thank you. Thank you for coming on and embracing us with your presence here on 101. It's been so much fun. I love these because you get a chance to meet everybody. You kick back, you relax, you just kind of have some fun. So thank you, first of all, for coming on. I want to thank you for that. And with that being said, it is time for you to leave your legacy. I want people to know, what do you want people to think of you when you decide to step away from the sports journalism game? What do you want people to think of Ashley Baker? What type of legacy you want to leave behind? And of course, shout out your shows and let everybody know where they can find you.
Absolutely. So I want to leave behind the legacy of it doesn't matter how old you are. It doesn't matter stumbling blocks you may think you have, to certainly go and pursue your dreams, work hard at it. I want people to know that I gave it my all, you know what I mean? And I was authentically me. And I don't care what room I'm in. I don't care who I'm around. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, always being like myself and being me and putting God at the forefront and never getting too like cocky or anything like that. I feel like I'm super humble. I feel like that's one of the reasons why like I've been so successful and why so many doors have opened in my favor, because I never get too big headed. I don't, it's not me. It's not me working the curtains here, people. It's not me. It's my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. So Amen. I would want people to definitely know that at the end of the day, it ain't had nothing to do with me. It was all him. And I am a loud representative of that. Yeah, man, that you can do whatever you want to do, man. You just got to work hard at it. You're never too old. Coming in 7 years ago, I'm like, oh, I'm too old. These people are coming out of college doing this stuff, and you're never too old. The KFC man didn't open up his first KFC until he was like 70 years old. So he was 70. And KFC is KFC. So
Colonel,
you can do it, man. As long as you got breath in your body, man, you can do it. So just and then obviously that I love my children to the death of me, you know what I mean? And everything that I'm doing, I'm obviously doing for them so they can have a better life than I did. And, and in turn, they can help others have a better life as well. So that's what I want people to remember me by when I step away from the sports game.
Awesome.
You can find me on Twitter at @AshleyBaker_21, the same handle on Instagram. And also you can find me on Facebook, Ashley Baker. You can find my About Nothing But Sports podcast on Spotify, Apple, Google, wherever you like to listen to your podcast is where you can find my show. Again, it's called About Nothing But Sports. I had Kelsey Nicole Nelson on this week's episode.
K&N, baby, K&N.
Yeah, my guest lineups have been fire so far this season. That's going to continue. And then obviously my legendary Twitter spaces, Sports After Dark.
Legendary.
Where Mark Gunnels and David Butler, Young Heavy, are my co-hosts. So
Young Heavy, I like that. I like that.
Those are my co-hosts, man. Those guys are so dope. I absolutely enjoy doing this with them. We do Sports After Dark Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 9 p.m. exclusively on Twitter Spaces. That's going to change, though. I think we're going to be doing Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays, and Saturdays for the football season.
Okay.
And that'll be after every game. Once the games are done for the day, that is when we'll hit the go button and be on the Sports After Dark Twitter Spaces. So make sure y'all tap in and follow me so you guys can be a part of that.
Follow Ashley Baker, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, you hear me? Just go out there and watch the greatness unfold. Now, before we get out of here, real quick, gotta let everybody know what we got coming down the pike. Of course, this week, man, I'm excited because this week I got 2 episodes this week, pretty much 3 episodes. This one being the first. Then we got my man Justin Pollard coming on. He is the long snapper for the Virginia Tech Hokies. Amelia, a Raider alumni for all my Amelia Raider fans out there. Y'all know how we do out there in the country. But Justin is entering his junior year. He was the number one long snapper in the state of Virginia when he came in. 40th ranked in the country. But yes, Justin will be on with us. We're going to go and catch up with him. And then on Sunday, my girl Candace Cooper, host of Locked On ACC podcast. My girl Candace is coming on next Sunday. So yeah, we in there. We in there. And
Love
so I that's my homie right there.
She's
so
really cool.
I got my girl Ashley, got my girl Candace. Once again, everybody, thank you all for tuning in for One-on-One. We're bringing the power rankings back in a couple of weeks, right before the season starts, right there that day. Right before that Bills and Rams game, you'll be able to see our one-on-one rankings as we'll start that up. I'm Darrell Owens, and with me, Ms. Ashley Baker. Ashley, thank you for coming on.
Thanks again for having me. Have a great evening, guys.
Yes, it was an absolute pleasure. All right, everybody, we'll see you all next time.
Legacy Maker, the All Sports Network.
Welcome to the one-on-one. When it comes to ratings, man, we number one. I get the truth, then I give them the scoop. If anybody got a question, I give them the